Hey there, would you like to know how to edit for both humans and SEO, Google, at the same time? If so, that's what we're going to cover in this video. My name is Anthony Metivier from brandingu.academy. Hit the thumbs up, get subscribed if you're not already subscribed, and let's go. Now, first things first, let's talk about the tool that I'm using here before we dive into editing this content. It is ProWritingAid. And if you'd like to get that, I suggest you use the link brandingu.academy/ProWritingAid. The link to that will be in the description below. What I like about this is that it's very, very simple, and it gives you a lot of options that you'll see come up as we go through this. And it's a great alternative to Grammarly, which I stopped using for a couple of reasons. One of which is that it updated itself to be way more complex than it used to be, and editing suddenly took 4 times as long, and that I didn't like. Also, this is interesting to you if you're starting an online business that has affiliate marketing as part of it. There's something disingenuous about how Grammarly was doing things. So I get an email every week telling me that I'm in the top 1% or 2% of the people who use the service, which I never really found that motivating. I found it kind of depressing. You mean there's only that many writers, that you're getting success for? Constant reminders of that? That was weird. There's a gamification element that certainly works for some people. It doesn't really fit my personality. I don't need that kind of prompting, but also it didn't seem to be the truth that they were ever telling. And when I canceled my account, they continued to send me these messages about my performance, even though I'm not using the software anymore. So how could I possibly be getting those kind of performance stats when I'm not using it? The other thing that's very interesting is that they didn't approve my application for an affiliate account, even though I'm apparently in the top 2% of their users, which I found very, very unusual. Whereas with ProWritingAid.com, I just went and applied for an affiliate account and instantly got it. And so if you're starting an online business and you want to have affiliate marketing as being part of that, then obviously you want to have someone who's going to approve your account and really not create odd feelings when you're being told you're one of their top users and they won't approve your affiliate account. That was very, very strange. Anyway, I don't want to kvetch about it, but odd adventures in the world of online marketing and performance and all this kind of stuff that's going on, gamification, when really what you want to do is you want to get your content ready to go to the internet, and you want it to be quality. So I love ProWritingAid for how simple it makes it and the suggestions that it creates. So the first thing that I'm thinking when I want to create content for the internet is, what is the core message that I want to have people understand? And in this case, I'm doing a book review on How to Train Your Memory by Phil Chambers, and I want them to understand that this is an amazing book and that there's a number of reasons why. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Google to help me use better words for the reasons why. And so for example, I know that it's going to help them improve their memory. So I put in how to train your memory into Google, and some of the other terms that came up are like how to improve memory recall. So in H2 tags, I'm going to have something that has that phrase, how to improve memory recall. And already ProWritingAid is telling me that, why you should, we might want to take this away. Now, I'm not going to take that away, but it is a good suggestion because it removes a bit of worriness. But I just sort of want to keep that one in that particular. And keep in mind, you don't have to take every suggestion under the sun. These are guidelines of what you might want to consider. And that is a good consideration in certain sentence structures, but it doesn't necessarily know that this is a subheading that will be in H2 tags. So the point being, though, is that we know that people search for how to improve memory recall, so I want to have it in that tag. And then when I look for the next, I know that acronyms for learning is a keyword, so I'm going to have that in an H2 tag as well. And basically every one of my subheadings that's not showing up so well here is something that people search for. So that's helping me make sure that the draft itself, before we even get to editing, is optimized for search. And then we want to consider the reader. And so one of the things that I always want to look for is sentence length, because sometimes my sentences are very, very long, and we want to generally have a sweet spot of like no more than 21 words per sentence, ideally more like 11 to 12 words per sentence. So this software is going to help with that. Then after you go through some grammar issues, you can go through style issues, and what it'll do is give you this report summary, and you can find passive verbs. So I can go specifically to a passive verb, and I can decide, let's see here, you can connect the seahorse acronym to the author himself when you realize that the name Phil is related to the word hippocampus. So what we can do is, make that more active and just change it by, instead of is related to, relates to the word hippocampus. And now that makes it stronger writing. And so then it scratches it out as it's been addressed. And then you can go to the next one. And in a competition setting, you might be tempted to mix and match the major with number shape technique, right? You can, it might tempt you, or, the context might tempt you to mix and match. So that is a great suggestion there, and I'm going to use that one, and so on. And, I go through all of this in good time. 3 repeated sentence starts. I like this because this is for variation, and you can go through that and make sure that it's actually in line. In this case, it's referring to I, and I'm not going to change a bunch of sentences so that they don't start with I, because that's quite common. Emotional tells is very interesting. So here is, I'm showing rather than telling. So what I would want to do here maybe is take when acronyms for learning are good, and when they are bad, this could be something more like when acronyms for learning help you excel, and when they lead to failure. And so now this is much more engaging and has a sense of consequence. So, it doesn't always give you exactly what to do, but it gives you these great prompts for thinking about your writing better. So, sure, it can work, but when it comes to mnemonic devices, too many things can go wrong. Sure, it can work, but for using, when it comes to, but when using mnemonic devices. So it gets rid of wordiness in this case, and really, really powerful for that. So I found that very useful. One hidden verb found. Not really even sure what a hidden verb is, but it tells you here. Try exposing the verb by using train, teach a skill. So it's still not bad while I was in training with, but while I trained with this dynamic duo of memory improvement, and it's just stronger. And another thing that you can do that I really like is if you look here, you can actually search your writing for cliches. And I don't know that I'll have many, but it says that I have 2 cliches. So let's have a look at what they are. Pretty much and over his head. So it helps you just find where in the writing that this actually is. So I was able to do so even though I was pretty much starstruck to be in the same seminar rooms with these legends of cinema. And the reason why I'm putting that is because I wasn't totally starstruck, but if I just say, even though I was starstruck, it actually makes it just a better sentence, because being starstruck is being starstruck, right? And if you're pretty much, then you're not really being as clear as you could be. And now over his head. Now in this case, it's reading it as a cliche, but I literally do mean technically that I placed the image over his head. So it's not, it went over his head as if he didn't understand it, but I literally placed an image of a seahorse over his head. So we can just ignore that. But it's cool that it pointed it out. And another thing that you can do is like diction. And so vague and abstract words, I got 50 that it's highlighting, and I can think about which of those might be worth removing. You also have readability, which is important. And one of the things that it's doing is saying how long that it would take to read. It's saying this is easy to read, congratulations, and too difficult to read paragraphs. So I want to know what these paragraphs are, and it just gives you a great way to go and zoom to them, and I can look at it, and yeah, like this is very difficult to read. So one of the things I can see here is Phil, I just turn this differently. So in other words, using memory techniques helps you zone in on details by using association that pushes away distractions. And then it isn't very clear how association works. And he also gives additional tips and examples that will help you convert abstract information into concrete images better and faster. Each chapter gives you exercises to complete. And you really should complete them. In fact, getting a physical copy of How to Train Your Memory will help, and I talk about why. And just to make it shorter, I talk about why instead of these compound sentences. Now, why am I doing that? Why am I fleshing this out in the sense of making more white space and shortening sentences that really don't need to be shortened as such? Well, if you're reading on the internet, then it really helps to have more white space, to have more flow, and is perfectly fine, especially in print. But online, it's better to just have short sentences. And so this is showing places where we might want to shorten things up. And so that I found really, really powerful. And we also have slightly difficult to read paragraphs, and so can start to see why that might be the case. So I really like this tool, and there's more to explore in it that I haven't even gotten into yet. Like the sticky thing I haven't looked at too much yet, but one of the things is that we can do is just look at it. And so it's saying 11 sticky sentences found, and we want to start to work on that a little bit. So let's see what happens if we agree with what it's saying. And I was able to do so even though I was starstruck. So I'm not sure why it's having that problem, but in any case, something to explore further. And really what I just like is the ease of being able to just bop through each of these areas and make some corrections. And ultimately, the last thing that I suggest that you do in order to make sure that your content is ready for reading is to read it out loud. And one of the things that I like to do, which I suggest that you do to repurpose content, is to then turn your blog posts into podcast episodes and read them before you publish the content, because that'll help you see. So I would just start with, if you want to know how to train your memory, the journey to greatness begins with recognizing something odd about, see, I already see a problem here. So recognizing something odd about that brain between your ears. And I might not see that if I didn't read it out loud. And so a lot of the times when I'm narrating my podcast, I'm also editing a bit, and it just, it makes for publish ready content a lot faster. And I would just continue through that. And one of the things you want to look for is, where are you being stopped when you're narrating? And that's often an indicator of where your reader will be stopped as well. And sometimes I have some complicated stuff that I'm still seeing here. I'm not sure why it didn't ask me to split up this sentence, but I'm going to split up this sentence. And one of the things that just ultimately happens to you naturally when you're using tools like this is you're getting distance from your text, and you're thinking about it differently from the perspective of your reader, and you can see, oh wow, that is a lot of text. So I hope that this helps you out, that you have some ideas about how to edit both for the search engines, which is just simply doing keyword research and then making sure that it's in your text, specifically your H2 tags, and having lots and lots of stuff that people are actually searching for, and then making sure that you use a tool like ProWritingAid.com, and making sure that you actually read out loud after you take the recommendations from the computer. So let me know in the discussion below what you think about tools like this, and any questions you have about SEO and writing for humans. Hit the thumbs up, get subscribed if you're not already subscribed, and come visit us at brandingu.academy for the free trial course that we have of the Branding You course that will teach you about the priority star and how to decide which part of your business you're going to work on first. Are you going to go for podcasting, for blogging, for making videos, or are you going to do what we do, which is to just get them all going? And of course, you got to start somewhere. So our priority star exercise will help you figure out which one is the most likely to benefit you, and you can get all that at brandingu.academy. Just click free trial, register, and get in our community. Join the Branding You forum to start the discussion with our community and with ourselves, and then see if Branding You is for you. So go over there now at brandingu.academy and get registered. Thanks for watching this video again, and until we speak again, keep on branding yourself and building that online empire.